Hello, baseball fans. Welcome to the eighth inning stretch. I'm AJ. He's Carson. No, you're not imagining things. No, you haven't fallen into a time warp. We are on a little later than usual because my illustrious co-host is not good at remembering when he has stuff going on.
No, I truly am not. And in what we will call Carson's forgetful summer, because I'm just going to blame it on the fact that I have plenty of events happening that I don't know of or don't remember. But yes, I will formally to kind of kick things off, like to apologize to all of you, of course, to apologize to AJ. This is something that I know I need to work on, and I think I have a solution that I'm going to have a solution to this. Is essentially I'm going to figure out all the events that I have going on this fall/summer, and then basically send AJ a list of, hey, here's all the things I have happening, so that I can keep myself accountable as well. But thank you all for your flexibility with everything, and again, my apologies.
It happens. Yeah, sometimes life's a little tricky to keep track of, especially when you got a bunch of stuff going on. Hang on, everybody. Sorry, I'm just messing with Twitter real quick, making sure the live stream is shared everywhere so everyone can get to it. Yeah. So, yes, but we are live. A little later than usual, but we're live as we are just about every Sunday on YouTube, on Twitter, and at eighth-inningpod.com/livestream. And of course, the show's available on demand anytime at linktree/eighth-inning-stretch. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at eighth-inningpod. And for more, including our newsletter blog, 2 Strike Count. Oh, by the way, don't forget to subscribe for free and get it delivered to your inbox every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And our original documentary series, The Book of Baseball. Head on over to eighth-inningpod.com and help us continue making the best indie baseball content this side of home plate by supporting the show, either using the QR code on your screen or at eighth-inningpod.com/donate. And if you are watching/listening to this on YouTube, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. So as opposed, Carson, to our last episode where we had, we do have a lot of stuff to get to, but our last episode, in case you guys missed it, was after we had been off for a week and the baseball news cycle just went nuts. Not quite as crazy this time, but still lots to get to, including our All-Star picks, because, ladies and gentlemen, the All-Star ballot is now live. I believe, Carson, it's just hang on, we'll get the let me get the, I think it's just MLB. Hang on. MLB All-Star Ballot 2024. I think it's just is it just MLB.com/? Yeah, apparently it's just MLB.com /all-star/ballot. But you guys probably just need to Google it. In any case, my point was the All-Star ballot is live. And Carson, honestly, that just kind of snuck up on me the other day. I was just perusing, the interwebs and came across the thing. One, I can't believe that we're already to the point of the year where we're talking about All-Star voting. And two, that we're already at the point where we're talking about All-Star voting. We're fast approaching the halfway mark of the season, which is both exciting and sad at the same time.
Yeah, it's exciting because obviously the All-Star game is always a ton of fun, but yes, at the same time sad because it means that you got to kind of look at it with the objects in the mirror are closer than they appear, and the end of the season is much closer than it would appear.
Yeah, it's just nuts. Um, Time flies, everybody. Time goes by really fast. So, yeah. So we'll dive into that. We'll dive into our ballots. We'll give you guys our all-star pick. We'll start with the poll results here in a second, but I just kind of want to mention something that's been I wouldn't say bothering me, but so most of you have probably noticed by now that our logo, our Twitter profile picture, and our logo on Twitter and our logo on our website, we made a little change for them for the month of June in celebration of Pride Month. I will say most of you. Okay, so I mean, you pretty much fall into one of three categories. There are all of you who out there who haven't, who have noticed and not said anything. Okay, fine. There are some of you who have reached out and said, basically, hey, that's really cool. Thanks for doing that. It means a lot, that sort of thing. And then there's the third category of you who, shall we say, have the opposite viewpoint about that. And to all of you, I have a very special message. Shut up. If you're it's gotta really suck to be you and be offended by a rainbow. Guess what? Nobody's forcing you to celebrate Pride Month. You don't have to, if you don't like it, fine, whatever, just ignore it. But don't, keep all your crap to yourself. All your negative thoughts, all your intolerance and all that stuff. Like, keep all that crap to yourself. Nobody cares. Stick to your dark little corners of the internet. But yeah, not cool. Anyways, I just wanted to kind of get that out of the way. And basically tell all of you, just, deal with it. And if you don't like the fact that we're doing our small part to celebrate Pride, then you have the option to not listen to the show. So, anyways, Carson, I obviously, I don't want to speak for you, Carson, but I have the feeling that you and I are on the same page when it comes to this.
No, yeah, and it was extremely, you said it all, and at the end of the day, we make this show for everyone.
Yes, exactly.
We are not
everybody.
We are not an exclusive show. The show is for all baseball fans, for all people from all walks of life. So,
yep,
like AJ said, we're just doing our small part to show that, and it's changing our logo so that the words have a rainbow in them. Like,
yeah, that's it.
Really, that's
yeah. We literally just changed the color of the letters on our logo. So anyways, yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that. But yeah, don't worry. If you don't like it, you only have a little, the rest of the month to go, and then it'll go back to normal. And you can, stop clutching your pearls. Anyways, yeah, I just kind of wanted to get that out of the way because I've seen some interesting reactions to that. So, anyways, all right. On to the poll question. We asked you guys who you thought who's been the most impressive rookie so far. And Carson, I'm not entirely sure if we've ever had a tie in one of our poll questions, but so this might be the first one ever. But Paul Skeens of the Pirates and Shota Imanaga of the Cubs tied atop this poll with 35% each. The Orioles, Colton Cowser, 14%. Evan Carter of the Rangers, 11%, and then other 5%. Yeah, I mean, we talked about this last week. And I threw out that, Colton Cowser would get my vote for Rookie of the Year, but I can find no issue with Paul Skeens and Shota Imanaga sharing the top spot in this poll.
Yeah, it's for me too. It's nice to see Evan Carter getting some love, even though he's been on the IL, and it sounds like as of a few last Tuesday, Bruce Bochy had said that it sounds like he'll be out for at least a month with some back issues. But so nice to see him get some love. But yeah, that's pretty crazy that Skeens and Imanaga tied at 35%. We got some smart fans out there.
Yeah, you guys, geez, it's almost as if they have somewhere to get. It's almost as if they have somewhere to get, to become well informed about baseball. No, you guys know your stuff. You have proved that over and over again, in the few years here that we've been doing the show. So, yeah, I mean, looking at Paul Skeens and Shota Imanaga, Carson, I would bet that one of them has a good shot at winning NL Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it. It's probably going to come down to one of those two, more than likely.
Yeah, it just feels like there haven't. I mean, I'm not saying there aren't any other talented rookies in the National League, but it just, it feels like it's going to come down to one of those two. So, so thanks for voting in the poll, everybody. Keep an eye out on eighth-inningpod.com for the next one, which will go up tomorrow. Where am I here? Yeah. So the new poll will go up tomorrow. And if you guys, I don't know if we've probably mentioned this before, but if you guys have an idea for a poll question, something you want to, something you want to put out there to your fellow fans and see what they think. Drop us a line. Drop us a line at eighth-inningpod.com/mailbag or eighth-inningpod or eighth-inningstretch@gmail.com. And we, there's a good chance that we'll use your idea. So, the mailbag is for more than, I mean, obviously the mailbag is for you guys to, write in and weigh in on stuff, but it's for more than that too. It's for, suggestions about the show. And Carson, you and I have mentioned before, almost everything about the way the show is, of the makeup of the show, has come from suggestions from our fans. So
yeah, absolutely. Like we talk about all the time, you guys are the show. You guys
Yes.
literally made the show. So we would not be able to do any of this without all of you.
Yeah. So anyways, that's something to keep in mind. All right, the White Sox. Oh, the White Sox. Carson and I were actually just talking about this before we came on. The White Sox have been historically bad. I mean, they are bad. Actually, you know what? I take that back. There's bad, Carson, and then there's what the White Sox have been this year.
Yeah, I mean, like, is it just me, AJ, or is this more painful to watch than the Athletics were last year? Like, and I'm saying that as an AL Central foe. Like, watching this team just hurts my heart to see them playing this crap.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, no, I think you're right, and I think this hurts more because, okay, sorry, A's fans and all of Oakland, but at this point we kind of expect the A's to be bad, because we know John Fisher doesn't give a crap. We know John Fisher has run that team into the ground, and and trying to move them to Vegas and all that other stuff. But I mean, the White Sox, the White Sox aren't in much better shape with their ownership with Jerry Reinsdorf because we know how he operates. But we kind of expect the A's to be this bad, Carson. I don't think you necessarily expect the White Sox to be this bad.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where we talked about in our preseason predictions that we kind of thought it was all the other teams in the AL Central and then the White Sox is kind of what we had both agreed on. But again, like AJ said, like we expected it for them not to be in the AL Central race, but we didn't expect them to be on pace for one of the worst seasons in MLB history. Like I didn't expect this at all.
No. In fact, since he brought it up, let's see. The worst single season record in Major League Baseball history were the 1899 Cleveland Spiders, who went a fantastic 20-134. Now that obviously they only played 154 games. So let's see who had the worst. What the heck is that? Carson, do you hear that? What is that? What is that noise?
I don't hear anything on my end, but it may be the wind from outside my window because there's a little bit windy here. So let me go see if maybe that fixes it real quick.
That was weird. Let's see.
Oh wait, is it gone now?
Yeah, it's gone now.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to find the worst win-loss record with 162 game season. Worst record in MLB history, 162 games. Here we go. And okay, the 2003 Detroit Tigers recorded the fewest wins among teams that have played 162 games. They went 43-119. Well, I mean, admittedly, Carson, I'm not very good at math, but we're June 9th, and the White Sox are sitting there with 17 wins and 48 losses. I mean, yeah, at this pace, at this pace, we could be looking at the worst single season record in MLB history since they started playing 162 games.
Yeah, which is absolutely wild. They're currently riding a nice little 2-game winning streak though over my
thanks to my Red Sox.
Red Sox in the battle of the Sox. So the Sox today looking for a split in that series, which I did not think I was going to say. But yeah, it's been really bad to the point where they're getting made fun of online for Tommy Pham getting into a fight and then the announcer saying, "Oh, I don't care how many losses we have this year. We ain't taking that at a play at home plate," which was extremely corny, but yeah, it's been bad.
Still can't figure out what Tommy Pham was thinking signing with the White Sox. I don't know. I feel like there were much better places for him to go. But here, I mean, that's what it is, I guess. But maybe the most incredible thing about this White Sox team, Carson, isn't how bad they are, although that is pretty incredible. How does their manager Pedro Grifol still have a job?
Yeah, and see, this is where I think I may disagree with you a little bit here, because Pedro Grifol was not put in the position to succeed with the on-field product that he's dealing with. I mean,
fair.
you look at this team, and on paper, it should be a team where you've got a solid amount of contributors. But I mean, Eloy Jimenez, for as talented of a player as he is, can't stay on the field for more than a month. And when he has been on the field, he's struggled. Andrew Benintendi has been absolutely awful. When you look at the starting lineup and Tommy Pham is your best hitter at 36 years old, that's not good. Martin Maldonado, who for some reason White Sox fans have decided to die on the hill of him making the All-Star game, is currently hitting a .074. And
Yikes.
you're talking about trading Luis Robert, who's still 26 years old and a guy that you should be able to build the future around. It's just, I don't think it's fair to put all of this on him. Does he deserve a certain amount of blame? Absolutely he does. But I mean, and aside from, Garrett Crockett and the resurgence of Eric Fetty and the pitching staff, everybody has just been awful. So I think it's fair to put some of this on him for sure, but you can't put everything on it with the production he's getting from his players.
Yeah, that's a good point. And they didn't exactly do a great job of building a team for, like you just mentioned. I guess you can't, but no, you're right. It's not fair to put all the blame on him, but I mean, at some point you've got to look and you've got to make a change. I mean, because it's and if for nothing else, for Pedro Grifol's sake, because this is only going to get worse. I mean, there's you said it. There's trade rumors about Luis Robert. There's trade rumors about Crockett. It's only going to get worse, and clearly, geez, that's kind of a weird, interesting parallel between the two teams that are called the Sox. But clearly ownership just doesn't care about putting a quality product on the field. And I mean, it's only going to get worse from here. At some point you've got to make a change. I would think.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, something's got to give, and
right,
fair or not, it probably will be Grifol getting fired. But I mean, the White Sox have some good prospects too that hopefully will ease this pain. I mean, for example, just looking on MLB.com, they announced that their number 3 prospect, Drew Thorpe, who is ranked number 54 overall by MLB Pipeline, is going to make his major league debut on Tuesday. So they've got plenty of guys that could potentially come through the system. And hopefully, the more of those guys that come up, and, I'm sure they'll probably bring up a good number of them during the September call-ups. Maybe, maybe there's a chance there for Grifol to kind of not necessarily right the ship, because at this point the ship has sunk. It has hit the iceberg. It is halfway into the ocean right now.
Yeah.
But maybe there's a way for him to at least salvage this, show that he can develop maybe some of these young guys, and then just go from there.
So let me put it to you this way: does Pedro Grifol finish out the season as the White Sox manager?
Honestly, I think he does. I really do. I don't, like I said, I think the biggest thing here is you can't fault him because he is not getting the production he needs from some of these guys. And I think does he make it through this year? I think so. Now, does that mean though that he necessarily like is he going to come in next year with a cold seat? Absolutely not. His seat's going to be hot. It's going to be very hot. But at the end of the day, I think you got to give him a chance. Realize that, hey, these guys aren't producing like we thought they would. These guys can't stay on the field. Like, you've got to give them a chance to ride this out, let some of these prospects maybe come up next year, maybe full-time, maybe mid-season call-up, whatever, so that way you can really see what he can do with a competitive team.
Yeah, because you're right. It feels like he doesn't have a competitive team this year. And is this his first year?
This is his second season.
Second season. Okay. Yeah, I mean, and last season didn't go well either. Yeah, I don't know. Like I you never want to see somebody lose their job. Yeah, I don't. If I'm the White Sox, I don't know if I give this guy another season. And I know the players aren't producing, and I know there's responsibility of the front office to to put together a competitive team. But I don't know. I don't know if you give him another year. I don't necessarily know that I fire him before the end of this season. Although if this season keeps going the way it is, I mean they're looking at they're on track. They're looking at losing 100, 110, 120 games, which is obviously that's just awful. Yeah, I don't know that I necessarily fire him before the end of this season, but I also don't know if I'm not sold on bringing him back next season either. But either way, there are some things are pretty bleak there on the south side of Chicago. So hang in there, I guess, White Sox fans. Yeah, it's just a bad situation all around. Speaking of bad situations that could have been, a bad situation that could have been much worse. Carson, Yankees fans were holding their collective breath when Juan Soto recently left the game during a rain delay due to soreness in his left arm. Soto did have an MRI. The MRI did not reveal any structural damage, which is obviously good news. That the Yankees, Aaron Boone sounds pretty optimistic. But and far be it from me to rain on Yankees fans' parades. This just feels like, I was reading the quotes and stuff and interviews from Aaron Boone and everybody. Oh yeah, hey, no structural damage. He's gonna be fine. He's day to day, yada yada yada. But Soto himself may have let the cat out of the bag. When he basically said, like, hey, look, this is something I've been dealing with all year. If I'm a Yankee fan, as if Carson, I'm worried. I'm freaking out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm certainly a little bit nervous. I mean, because you kind of got a tale of two sides here. Like, Boone says, oh, he'll be all right, and then Juan Soto comes out and, like you said, basically says, yeah, I've kind of been dealing with this all year, no big deal. And you kind of think about that, you go, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
So as a Yankees fan, certainly I'm a little bit concerned. And yesterday, very very late yesterday, it sounded like they had said that Juan Soto could potentially take some swings today. But again, they also said he could wind up on the 10-day IL. So it's a very interesting saga to follow, and certainly is something that couldn't come at a worse time for the Yankees as they look to keep their ever so slim lead of the AL East.
Yeah, and also Soto was kept out of the lineup against the Dodgers on Friday night. Yeah, I don't know, my friend. We've seen many times. We've seen this movie before where the sort of nagging injury is, oh yeah, I've been dealing with it for weeks now. Where we've seen these, and I'm not saying this will happen with Juan Soto, but I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm not saying it won't happen either. We've seen many times before, where these sort of nagging little injuries wind up turning into something more serious. And that would obviously be bad news for the Yankees.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. This would be absolutely horrific news for the Yankees, and something that I'm sure Yankees fans are, like you said, they are holding their collective breaths right now.
Yeah, and understandably so. But I guess on the flip side of this, I mean, obviously losing Juan Soto to the IL would not be ideal, but I also I don't necessarily think it would be catastrophic.
I mean, I wouldn't call it
I
catastrophic.
mean, you've still got. I mean, let's be honest. You've still got Aaron Judge. You've still got half of this 1-2 punch. I think the Yankees would be okay if Soto, went on the 10-day, maybe even the 15-day out. If he misses a couple of weeks, if he were out any longer than that, then I think you'd have to start to worry if you're a Yankees fan.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. I'd agree with that.
So yeah, that's obviously something to keep an eye on for the Yankees and their fans. Because boy, they can't afford to be without Juan Soto for too long. Changing gears a little bit here. This was a story I came across a couple days ago, I guess. And I just thought this was really cool and sort of, if you'll pardon the pun, came out of left field a little bit. So Tuesday, the White House announced, I just bear with me, everybody. You didn't accidentally turn into CNN. I promise this. I promise I'll bring this back to baseball. So hard to believe, Carson. It's been about 5 years since Angels pitcher Tyler Skaggs was found dead after overdosing on oxycodone and fentanyl and all kinds of other bad stuff. And the now former Angels communications director, Eric Kay, who gave him the pills, went to jail. He's currently serving a 22-year sentence in federal prison. Anyways, obviously a terrible tragedy for Tyler Skaggs' friends and family, and the Angels and baseball as a whole. So Tuesday, the White House announced a new initiative aimed at preventing opiate overdoses. And they're partnering with several private sector entities, but the big one is Major League Baseball. So basically what this thing is, it's called the White House Challenge to Save Lives from Overdose. And part of the deal, Carson, is that now MLB, all teams in their clubhouses are now required to carry this drug called naloxone. It's going to be in the clubhouses, the weight rooms, the dugouts, even the umpire dressing rooms at all major league and minor league ballparks. And all athletic trainers are going to be certified to travel with this stuff. Basically, what this thing does with this, I think that's how you pronounce it. Naloxone. Yeah, naloxone. It rapidly reduces the effects of. It's basically what I'm reading here. Oh, naloxone is the generic name for Narcan. Okay, everybody knows that word, unfortunately. But I just thought this was really cool. I mean, obviously, not cool that it had to come out of a terrible tragedy like what happened with Tyler Skaggs, but this is huge. And this is I just thought this was really cool. That MLB one is taking this very seriously, and two, partnering with the White House as part of this initiative to raise awareness about opioid addiction and opiate overdose, which is, I mean, for my money, the biggest public health crisis there is right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, a really a cool initiative. Something that probably should have been done quite a while ago, but thankfully we don't really hear about anybody suffering any overdoses and stuff on the field, and hopefully this will help continue that trend. But yeah, absolutely awesome. Hopefully, I'd love to see other sports do kind of similar measures, and not just necessarily for overdoses and things like that too, but a lot of things can happen in sports. I mean, we've seen it with DeMar Hamlin in football. We saw it in the NHL a few years ago with Rich Peverly when he was on the Dallas Stars, going into cardiac arrest while he was sitting on the bench. It's the scary world of sports, is that these guys are human beings too. Their bodies go through a lot, and sometimes it gets the better of us, but I'm glad to see MLB stepping up.
Yeah, this is definitely a good move. I mean, obviously, like you said, this probably should have been done sooner, and it's, it's sad that we live in a world where this is a thing, but the fact that MLB is partnering with the White House on this ad campaign, basically the ad campaign will be promoting naloxone, and other drugs that can help with overdoses, and no current MLB players have needed this drug or overdose treatment, but having it readily available to make sure nothing like what happened to Tyler Skaggs happens again is definitely a good thing. So good on you, MLB, and good on the White House for recognizing, not only recognizing that this is such a big problem, but doing something about it. Just one of those kind of interesting stories that Carson serves as a gentle reminder that, as we like to say, there are some things that are bigger than baseball.
Yeah, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt.
So, I mean, and obviously what happened to Tyler Skaggs was just awful. But anyways, back to the baseball field. The London series between the Phillies and Mets actually wrapped up just not so long ago. Not too long before we came on the air. The Phillies and Mets split the series. The Phillies, I think yesterday's game was like 7-2, and the Mets won 6-5 today. First of all, I love the London series. I love MLB playing games internationally, Carson. But come on, we only got 2 games. I would have, sign me up to 5 games of this.
Yeah, that would sure be nice. But yeah, from what I saw and from what I could tell, seemed like a really great atmosphere. Seemed like the players really enjoyed it. I mean, Bryce Harper's bat looked sick, and he did the knee slide celebration when he hit a home run, which was super cool. But yeah, give us more games in London, please, and thank you.
Yeah, great atmosphere. In case you guys didn't see it in yesterday's game, Bryce Harper channeled all those English footballers with his sliding celebration. That was actually really cool. That was a really cool celebration for Harper. The atmosphere, I didn't catch yesterday's game. I did catch most of today's game. The atmosphere was insane. I mean, I guess we really shouldn't be surprised, because not just MLB, but the NFL has been playing games in London for quite a while now, and fans in London, Carson, they show up and they show out.
Yeah, absolutely. They showed up, they show out, and they always have some They always get some creative chants going, no matter what the sport, don't they, over across the pond?
Yes, they do. Yeah, so this was the third time in 6 years that MLB has played in the UK. Because they played at the London Stadium, which was originally formerly the Olympic Stadium for the 2012 Olympic Games. It's now where West Ham United plays. 2-game series. I mean, I get it. You know, obviously the travel for the teams and the jet lag and everything and the time difference. Obviously that takes a toll on the teams. That's probably why they only play 2 games. But I don't see any reason like why can't we need more games, not just in London. How about some we need more games in the UK.
Yeah, in the UK in general would be nice, and I'm sure for everybody in London Stadium, it was nice for them to actually see some winning, somebody winning there instead of watching West Ham.
Oh, cheap shot at West Ham. Yeah, no, just a really cool thing, really cool atmosphere. Another huge success for MLB International. And yeah, I mean, let's it sounds actually I just had an article. Hold up. Hang on, everybody. No, what? Stop. MLB International Series. So I think we've already got. I think we've already got games. So I So I think that's it for. Pretty sure that's it for international games this year. So we had the Astros and the Rockies played in Mexico City. The Mets and the Phillies played in London. Obviously, the Dodgers and the Padres played in Seoul to begin the season. And then, of course, the Red Sox and the Rays played 2 games in spring training in Santo Domingo and the Dominican Republic. Okay, so on April, Commissioner of Japanese Baseball, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this dude's name because I know I'll butcher it, told reporters that the 2025 MLB season would open in Japan on March 19th and 20th, which would be the first MLB games played in the country since 2019. Okay, so that's cool. Teams and location have yet to be confirmed. That's pretty awesome. MLB plans to host games at the Stade de France, just outside Paris, starting in 2025. Okay, so it looks like the plan is to alternate every year between London and Paris. Okay, that's pretty freaking cool.
That sounds sweet.
Yeah, so 2025, we're going to get Paris, 2026, London, and then they'll alternate. Obviously, the Olympics are in Paris this summer, here in just, a month or so. Baseball is not part of the Olympics this year. Baseball will be part of the Olympics when they come to LA in 2028, but that's down the road a bit. Okay, yeah, that's pretty awesome. And also, yes, sign me up for starting the season in Japan. The only I mean, Phillies and Mets was a good choice. But sometimes the teams MLB picks to do these international things is a little hit or miss. Dodgers, Padres, and Seoul was cool. Phillies, Mets, and London, love it. I did have a little bit of an issue with Rockies and Astros in Mexico City. That's the best they could come up with.
Yeah, I get why those 2 teams, but yeah.
Yeah, what was it last year was who played in Mexico City last year? It was the Padres and I know it was the Padres.
I want to say Padres and Rangers, maybe.
Maybe. I know it was the Padres. I just don't. Mexico City MLB 2023.
Padres and Giants.
Padres and Giants. See, there you go. Those are the kind of games. If you're gonna have these international games, and you're gonna put butts in the seats, you need to have either division rivals or, maybe not necessarily. I mean, division rivals or you need to have marquee teams. No offense, but fans in London or Paris or Tokyo or wherever, they're not going to pay money to go watch the Rockies. So,
no. Heck, I wouldn't pay money to go watch the Rockies.
I mean, I have and continue to pay money to go watch the Rockies here in Denver, but that's only because the tickets are ridiculously cheap. And I like baseball, and Coors Field is a gorgeous ballpark. So, anyways, yeah. So that's kind of the wrap on the London series. That's the end of international games for MLB this season. All right, we teased it. You guys have been waiting for it. It's time for our all-star picks. Carson, you and I were kind of talking about this before we came on the air. This was tough.
Yeah, this was tough, and some of these you guys are gonna think it's favoritism or homerism or whatever. I'm sure, but I promise I was looking at stats and what I know about the game when I picked mine. I promise.
I mean, I tried my best to be objective. I did well. I
only made one Twins pick.
Yeah, I tried my best to be objective. I did make a couple homer picks. Although, I mean, they're homer picks, but they're not like I didn't pick undeserving players just because they were on one of my favorite teams. But anyways, how do we want to do this? Do we want to do we want to just go down our lineups? Go down our ballots? Or do we want to let's just do that. Let's just go down our ballots. And then we can because I'm sure we're gonna have. So this is for all of you who continue to tell us that it's boring because we agree on everything. No, we don't. So shut up. You know what? Let's start in the National League. Let's have your National League All-Star team, Carson.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do this in order of the way that that MLB had it on the ballot, which is a little bit weird that catcher is very far down the list, but so I'm going to do it in order of that. For the National League, at first base, I have Freddie Freeman of the LA Dodgers. At second base, I have Ketel Marte of the Arizona Diamondbacks. At third base, probably the easiest pick of the National League, I had Alec Bohm of the Philadelphia Phillies. At shortstop, I have Trey Turner, also of the Philadelphia Phillies. In my outfield, I have Michael Conforto of the San Francisco Giants, Heliot Ramos of the San Francisco Giants, and Christian Yelich of the Milwaukee Brewers. At catcher, I have William Contreras of the Milwaukee Brewers. And as my designated hitter, the recently exonerated Shohei Ohtani of the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Not going to touch that one with a 10-meter cattle prod yet. Okay, so yeah, we basically your ballot is basically completely different from mine, which I'm not surprised. For bonus points, your starting pitcher for the National League All-Stars.
Oh, we're doing bonus points. I mean, it has to be Shota Imanaga.
Gotta be, yeah. Maybe Paul Skeens, maybe. maybe, but yeah, no, I think it has to be Shohei Ohtani. I think that's the most no-brainer pick on these National League All-Stars. Okay, so Freeman at first, Marte at second, Bohm at third, Turner at shortstop. You went Turner over Mookie.
I did go Turner over Mookie, and that decision did not come lightly because you know I love me some Mookie Betts, but
and Contreras over my boy JT Realmuto.
Yes, I mean again a very difficult decision, but William Contreras has just he's impressed me so much this season.
He is having a heck of a year. Yeah.
He's having a heater of a year. He's been incredible for that Brewers team.
I can't argue with that. All right, here we go. National League first base. Jake Cronenworth of the Padres. Speaking of impressive years. Second base, I'm glad you gave Ketel Marte some love, but I'm equally surprised that you did not go with Luis Ariz at second base. Luis Ariz at second. Third base from the Colorado Rockies, Ryan McMahon. And ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you right now, learn this man's name because he's young, he's on the rise, he is one of the most exciting players I've ever watched. Yeah, I said ever. And he's got it all. He can hit, he's got speed, he's got a glove. And unfortunately for him, he plays for the Colorado Rockies, so he doesn't get a lot of attention. But Ryan McMahon, seriously, learn that name. And also do your favor and go look up some of his highlights on YouTube. So Ryan McMahon of the Rockies at third, Mookie Betts at shortstop. However, unlike my co-host, I got to be honest with you, man. Mookie was a no-brainer for me. I know you struggled between Trey Turner and Mookie Betts. Mookie was a no-brainer for me. And so was JT Realmuto, a catcher for the Phillies. I know Contreras is having a heck of a year, but there's just, I don't know. There's just something about JT Realmuto. In my outfield, Jurickson Profar of the Padres, Seiya Suzuki from the Cubs. And the one we agreed on was Michael Conforto from the Giants. Again, though, I can't fault your pick of Christian Yelich. Designated hitter, Mr. Jock Peterson of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And starting pitcher, as we mentioned, Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't see a whole lot of issues with the ballot. I mean, and maybe me picking Trey Turner over Mookie Betts is still me not accepting the fact that Mookie Betts is playing shortstop. Shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So maybe
that is a bit weird.
I think subconsciously my brain was just like, oh, you'll see him in the outfield, and then it was like, oh wait, he's not here. So maybe that had a part to play in it. Luis Ariz was an interesting one for me because as much as I wanted to put him there, again, maybe my brain subconsciously with him mostly being a DH with the Padres more than a second baseman. Maybe I considered him more of a DH category,
which I'm glad you brought that up because I thought that was interesting when I was looking at the ballot that he was listed under the second baseman. Because I kind of went, well, wait a minute, isn't he mostly playing DH with the Padres?
Yeah, it's certainly. I
thought that was kind of weird. I'm glad I'm not the only one who noticed that because that was definitely. I was like, wait, what? No, I mean, I think both of us did we'll pat ourselves on the back for picking two really solid all-star teams here. It'll be interesting to see how the actual voting shakes out, which, by the way, yes, again, ladies and gentlemen, all-star balloting, all-star voting is underway. So find your way over to MLB.com and cast your ballot. I think you can. Now, I'm I don't know if you would call me a traditionalist or old school or whatever. Yeah, I know you can vote, 5 times a day, for every day from now until I vote once. That's just because I'm from the era where the ballots were, I remember before the All-Star ballot was online, and you had to actually fill out a paper ballot. So, but yeah, you go ahead. I mean, you can vote 5 times a day for, to your little heart's content. But it's going to be really interesting to see how the balloting shakes out in the National League. I mean, in both leagues, really, but especially in the National League with this little conundrum with Luis Ariz mostly playing DH, and against Ketel Marte. And I'm also very interested to see the reaction, how things shake out at designated hitter, given recent events that we're going to talk about later. All right, let's move over to the American League. I guess I'll lead this one off for my American League ballot. First base, the Paisano, Vinny Pasquantino of the Royals. Second base from the Cleveland Guardians, Andres Jimenez. Third base from my Boston Red Sox, Raffy Two Scoops, Rafael Devers. Surprise, surprise. Shortstop, Bobby Witt Jr. from the Royals. Catcher, come on. You all know. Cal Raleigh of my Seattle Mariners, the big dumper himself. In my outfield, Juan Soto of the Yankees, Tyler O'Neill, although he is currently maybe headed to the IL from my Red Sox, and Colton Cowser from the Baltimore Orioles, and my designated hitter, David Fry from the Cleveland Guardians, and for my bonus points, my starting pitcher, again, surprise, surprise, here, everybody, my starting pitcher for the American League, one Luis Castillo of the Seattle Mariners, La Piedra himself.
Well, we do have some more agreements in
Really?
the American League. There are 3 of my players that overlap with you.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and fire mine off.
Here we go.
We have to wait a little bit to get to the first one, but for first base, I selected Ryan Mountcastle of the Baltimore Orioles. Second base, as much as this makes me kind of throw up in my mouth a little bit, Jose Altuve of the Houston Astros. Third base, Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Guardians. Shortstop was very much a no-brainer, Bobby Witt Jr. of the Kansas City Royals.
Mm-hmm.
In my outfield, I have Juan Soto of the New York Yankees, Tyler O'Neill of the Boston Red Sox,
yes,
and Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees, which would make for a very interesting outfield.
Surprise.
At catcher, my homer pick here, Ryan Jeffers of my Minnesota Twins. And at DH, I have selected Giancarlo Stanton of the New York Yankees. And for my
Speaking
bonus,
of throwing up in my mouth,
just you wait, because for my bonus,
no, don't do it. No.
Luis Gil
Oh, God.
of the New York Yankees.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2024 New York American League All-Stars.
Oh, come on. They've been phenomenal.
Yeah. They're still the Yankees. I still hate them.
I know you do.
Let's see. Okay. Mountcastle at first base. Yeah, no issue with that. Come on, man. Altuve at second. Mr. Apple Watch himself.
I know, but he's having another solid production year, even though the team around him is.
But is he having a better year than Jimenez? That's what I like. I don't know. I mean, maybe he is, maybe he's not. In any case, yeah, all right. I'll grudgingly give you that one, I guess. Can't argue with Jose Ramirez at third base. I mentioned I made a couple homer picks. Raffy Devers is one of them. He's not really having a typical Raffy Devers type year. But he's Raffy. Bobby Witt Jr. at shortstop. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. Catcher, interestingly enough, I did almost go Jeffers at catcher, and then I realized I had made it through most of my ballot without a homer pick for my Mariners. So, and come on, who doesn't love Cal Raleigh? I mean, the dude's impossible not to cheer for. Speaking of impossible not to cheer for, Tyler O'Neill in the outfield. So let's see. I went Soto, O'Neill, Cowser. You went Soto, O'Neill, Judge. Oh, that would make for a very interesting outfield. That would be must-see TV to see how O'Neill would get along being squished between two, having to play the outfield with two Yankees. Yeah, that would be very interesting. I don't know. I feel like I've been talking about Colton Cowser, and I have been so impressed by Colton Cowser this year. I had to give him a nod here. Even though I know I pissed off all the Yankees fans by not picking Aaron Judge. This was a no-win situation for me. Either I pick Soto or I pick Judge, because one of them has to be there. Although, again, depending on how things play out with Soto's injury, that it might wind up being Aaron Judge. But then again, it might wind up being both of them because you just know Yankees fans are going to spam those ballots. Stanton for DH. Yeah, I guess. Stanton just, I don't know what it is. Stanton hasn't been Stanton to me for a long time. For at least a few years now.
Yeah, and I definitely and by no means do I necessarily disagree with that notion, but
yeah.
call me old fashioned, but when I think of a DH, I think of a guy who goes out and does nothing but absolutely mash the baseball, and so far this season, Giancarlo Stanton is doing just that. Like this, right now, he's having his best season from a slugging percentage perspective in 3 years.
That is pretty impressive. And then I know Luis Gil has been. I know. Like I watched him pitch against your Twins the other night. I saw firsthand what he's capable of. But man, I don't know. Raleigh was Devers and Raleigh were homer picks. I'll freely admit that. Castillo was an objective pick to me. Luis Castillo is just so damn good, and he's been so good for the Mariners. He's been, you know what? I'll throw this out there. I would contend that you could take any of the 5 pitchers in Seattle's starting rotation and make them your all-star starter. That rotation has been that good this year.
Interesting. Okay.
Give me any of those 5 pitchers. Castillo, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, now that he's back. Give me any of those. Any of those starting pitchers for the Seattle Mariners is worthy of starting the All-Star game. They've been that good. I mean, look at that. All you got to do, look up their Seattle's pitching staff's numbers. Their numbers have been off the charts. That pitching staff and that rotation in particular have been so good. So good. I don't hate Luis Gil starting the All-Star game. I don't hate it. But I don't necessarily agree with it either. But anyways, so those, ladies and gentlemen, are, as picked by us, your 2024 MLB All-Star starting lineups, and we anxiously await the point where the results are revealed. And, well, I don't know. What percentage of these do you think will actually hit on?
I mean, odds are I'm probably going to hit on not even 25%, I would think. But
Nah, I think you're. Well, let's just look at it. You'll probably hit on Ramirez for third base in the AL. We'll both hit on Bobby Witt Jr. I think that's a no-brainer. You'll probably hit on Soto and Judge in the outfield. Stanton, I'm not sure about. Heel, I'm not sure about. National League, yeah, you'll probably hit on Freeman and Marte, and Bohm, and probably Turner too. Although I don't know. I think Mookie ends up getting shortstop, because he's Mookie. Catcher, I'm not sure about that. That a catcher, I feel like could go either way. Outfield looks good. Yeah, that DH spot. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, that's interesting. Speaking of which, so in case you have been living under a rock, just this past week, the San Diego Padres, I'm gonna butcher his name. I'm sorry. Tucapita? I don't know. Marcano. His last name is Marcano. Marcano I can handle. Yeah. This past week, San Diego Padres, Marcano, banned for life from baseball for not only betting on baseball, but betting on Pirates games while he was a member of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And that's obviously, that's the Pete Rose thing. You can't do it. It's wrong in every sense of the word. And a lifetime ban, sure, no problem. He wasn't the only one. There were a couple of other players, a couple minor league players who received 1-year bans for betting, but he's the only one that received a lifetime ban. Okay, fine, no problem with that whatsoever. You can't have athletes in any sport. You can't have athletes in any sport betting on the sport they play, and especially not betting on the team they play for. Sure, a lifetime ban sounds pretty harsh, but it works. You have to. And I would venture, Carson, that when Pete Rose was banned, and I know it was a long time ago, but I would venture that when Pete Rose was banned for betting on baseball and betting on the Reds while he was with the Reds, I'm willing to bet that when they banned him, when then Commissioner Bart Giamatti banned him, I'm guessing at the time nobody thought that would ever happen again.
Yeah, that would be. I think that's safe to
because
assume.
It was such an extraordinary situation. Here you had this absolute freaking superstar in Pete Rose, and then it turned out that he was not only betting on baseball, he was betting on his own team. I can't even imagine. And that was years ago. We're talking about the 80s, folks. No internet, no social media, no 24-hour news cycle. So imagine if that happened now, how much it would just shake. I mean, the 24-hour news cycle would go nuts. It would be everywhere. So we sort of got that. But Marcano, not to whatever, but he's 24. I don't think anyone had ever even knew his name before this. If he wasn't mixed up in this thing, nobody would even know who he was. His career was short and frankly nothing to write home about. No disrespect, but Well, yeah, you know what? Disrespect intended, dude. You bet on baseball, so, screw you. Yeah. So Marcano banned for life. And again, well-deserved, warranted, yes. Absolutely 100% agree with the decision. But he's a nobody. Not a household name by any stretch of the imagination. But Carson, we did have a household name mixed up in a gambling scandal. And that would be one Mr. Shohei Ohtani. Oddly enough, I think it was the same day. Oddly enough, the same day the news broke about Marcano and Marcano's lifetime ban and these other players being banned, seemingly out of nowhere, Shohei Ohtani's former interpreter, Ippei Mizuhara, pled guilty to the charges that he was facing, and miraculously, angels singing, the shaft of sunlight shining down from the heavens, Ohtani's exonerated. MLB goes. MLB basically went, oh, he pled guilty. Okay, case closed. Done. Ohtani didn't do anything. All good. All is well. Carson, my friend, I am calling bullshit. I don't buy it for a second.
Okay. So,
and for the record, everybody, I have been skeptical of this whole thing from the beginning. From the first, and Carson will attest to this, from the first time we talked about Ohtani and the gambling thing, my position from the beginning has been, I want to believe him. I want to believe that Shohei Ohtani wasn't mixed up in any of this. And it's become, with every new piece of information that come out, it's become harder and harder for me to believe that. Because I'm sorry, I don't know how anyone, I don't care how rich you are, how that much money can go missing from your bank account and you don't notice. And now with this, like, oh, we banned this dude from the Padres, this no-name player for life. But Ohtani, yeah, he's good. All clear.
And I do see where that could potentially come into play, because I think I can safely speak for both of us when I say you cannot bet on games if you are playing in said game. Like, no, you just can't. And
now, how do you feel? Because you and I have never really talked about this. What about athletes betting on other sports?
For me, that's a little bit of a gray area. I think you'd still need to set some sort of regulations on it.
Sure.
But
because we have seen other players in other sports get suspended for betting. We've seen NFL players get banned. The NBA just lifetime banned somebody. I don't remember his name, but he was betting on NBA games. So, anyways, I don't want to I don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole. But yeah, if you're a baseball player, you can't bet on baseball. If you're a football player, you can't bet on football, hockey, whatever sport it is. Anyways, I don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole, but I was just curious where, kind of where you stood on athletes betting on other sports. Anyways.
No, yeah, it's very much for me, that's very much a gray area. There's a lot of regulations you'd need to set to make sure that they're not coordinating with, maybe friends in that other sport to help their bets hit and things like that up.
Exactly. Yeah.
So anyway. Like as far as Marcano goes, you can't bet on games. You can't bet on your own team's games. You can't no. So
right.
As far as he goes, no problem with a lifetime ban. Fine, done and dusted. Shohei is a very interesting case study because, as I said, he is technically exonerated, as I also delightfully mentioned in my All-Star ballot. Now, I know that on this show in the past, we both have made, criticized MLB for various things. But I don't necessarily find anything worth critiquing here. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it to and maybe I just have a different vantage point, but to me, it does not feel like they simply ended the investigation because Mizuhara pleaded guilty. And again, maybe that's just me misreading things as far as trying to figure out the timeline because of the absolute atrocities that have been committed to the social media arts previously known as Twitter by the guy who designed the Cybertruck. And the world said, "Oh yeah, we trust him to run a social media site," but that's another thing for another day. But maybe I don't know. I feel like they were still. Do I think potentially that the results of this investigation could have been rushed because he pleaded guilty? Yes. Do I necessarily think that even if he hadn't pled guilty, we would have gotten a different result to this investigation? No. I do truly believe that he was innocent in all of this. It seems like Mizuhara just has a gambling problem, and we've all seen movies where we've all seen it in movies, and in some cases sadly in real life where gambling can take such a hold of somebody that you will do anything to try and get that next bet to hit. Heck, there have been movies made about people being in debt to the mafia and then having to go and basically steal money from their families to try and pay that bet back. I mean, for example, like if you guys haven't seen it, go watch Uncut Gems. Absolutely fantastic movie with that kind of premise, and you can see how much it absolutely destroys a person's life. So do I think that show that this investigation potentially could have been a little rushed in terms of its findings because of the guilty plea? Sure. But again, at the same time, I think that's naturally going to happen in any sort of investigation. Somebody pleads guilty, like it's going to be open and shut. But at the end of the day, I don't think a not guilty plea by Mizuhara would have changed the results. I do think that Ohtani is innocent in all this, and at the end of the day, I think this is just a sad story about a man whose gambling addiction took over his life.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously not to minimize. Yeah, I mean, Ipe Mizuhara clearly has a problem, and you can obviously only hope that he gets help. He gets the help he needs. So from The Athletic. So this is from last Tuesday. So this is the article about Mizuhara pleading guilty. Pled guilty, accused of stealing almost $17 million. Again, how the hell does $17 million go missing from your bank account and you don't notice? Okay, sure. Like I notice if $10 goes missing from my bank account, but okay. From the Baseball Slayer, pled guilty in federal court on Tuesday to charges of bank and tax fraud. Okay. Mizuhara pled guilty to one kind of bank fraud, carries a maximum sentence of 30 years in federal prison. One count of filing a false tax return, which carries a maximum sentence of 3 years in federal prison. Okay, so in other words, he's going to be in federal prison for a while. Blah 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 blah. Shortly after, here we go. Shortly, and this is just because I was a little fuzzy on the timeline myself, so I went digging here. Shortly after Mizuhara entered his plea Tuesday, MLB said it had cleared Ohtani and closed its investigation. Right. The investigation into Ohtani has been going on. I mean, that was if I remember correctly, Carson, this whole Ohtani thing started right around the time the Dodgers were in Korea to play the Padres at the beginning of the season.
I believe so, yes.
The story broke right around that time. Because Mizuhara was in Korea with the Dodgers and with Ohtani, and the Dodgers fired him right away, obviously. Yeah, that seems like awfully convenient. So and my point was, this investigation has been going on for months, and the day that Mizuhara pleads guilty, MLB goes, yeah, okay, case closed. Yep, moving on. Nothing to see here, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, Marcano, the investigation into Marcano, to be fair, I don't know how long MLB was investigating Marcano and these other players, but they only just announced the investigation into Marcano on Monday, the day they passed down the lifetime ban. I don't know. Seems like they wrapped up things very quickly with Marcano, and it seems like, and understandably, the investigation into Ohtani and Mizuhara was it was a longer investigation. Understandably, you're talking about arguably the biggest superstar in the game, and you're talking about $17 million as opposed to $150,000 for Marcano. Not that the amount matters, but it kind of does. I don't know. The Ohtani investigation went on for so long, and Mizuhara pleads guilty, and yep, that's it. Case closed. Nothing to see here. Move along. These aren't the droids you're looking for. I don't know what it is. I can't quite put it into words, but something just does not sit right with me about this. And I do have a theory. Marcano is not Shohei Ohtani. Banning a Padres player that no one's ever heard of is not the same as banning an international superstar like Ohtani. I can't prove that Ohtani's guilty, but something about this just doesn't sit right with me. And I don't usually go in for these kind of things, but banning a no-name player from the Padres is not the same as banning Shohei Ohtani. Marcano is pretty much already out of the news cycle. I haven't seen anyone talking about this. It's, he got banned for life. Okay, that sucks. And then that was it. I've hardly seen anything about it since. If Shohei Ohtani were banned for life, this would be talked about for years, and it would do serious damage to MLB's reputation. But more importantly, and again, I don't usually go in for these kind of things, but banning Marcano and ban Marcano, okay, whatever, it's over, it's done with. You ban Ohtani, and MLB's bottom line is going to take a hit. MLB is going to take a financial hit. I'm not saying that's why they cleared Ohtani, and the whole Mizuhara pleads guilty, and the same day MLB closes the case on Ohtani and clears him, it does not sit right with me.
Yeah, and I mean and again, I think the big part of this, and that's where a lot of people are going to have issues, because Ohtani is such a big name, and people are going to feel like, because he's such a big name, that that MLB felt like once Mizuhara pled guilty, cool, we can close the investigation now, thank God.
Yep.
But
people are going to see a cover up.
Right, but at the end of the day, we can't also. That's not a good way for any of us to think either, right? Because at the end of the day, it shouldn't matter if it's a big name player or a small name player. Like, if, again, like you would kind of said, yes, Marcano is a smaller name than Ohtani for sure, but again, kind of flip this around. If Ohtani was just instantly banned, but then Marcano had a guy on the outside that pled guilty and then MLB was fine, would there be as much outrage if you flipped it around the other way? Because honestly, my thought is no. I really don't think there'd be as much outrage, and that's not fair.
No, there wouldn't be any outrage. No, and you're right. It shouldn't matter if we're talking about a superstar like Shohei Ohtani or some, or a relatively mostly unknown player. It shouldn't matter. But it feels like it does. It feels like these two players got treated differently. It feels like Ohtani got preferential treatment from Major League Baseball. Again, obviously, the only ones who know that are MLB, Manfred and Ohtani and the Dodgers. They're the only ones who know what really went on here. And I know, and Carson's right. It's not, it's probably not good for us to be cynical about this whole thing. But this just, it just reeks of cover up to me. And I don't know. I am gonna do my utmost best not to look at Shohei Ohtani differently after all this, but I got to be honest. I think that's going to be tough. So we asked you guys to weigh in on this, and oh boy, did some of you weigh in on this? And in the interest of fairness, we did pick messages from both sides of this issue. We'll just read these because wow, did you guys have thoughts? Emma T says players who bet on baseball should be banned, and I'm convinced Ohtani is one of them. All right, Emma. ONH, there's no way MLB was going to ban its biggest superstar. Agreed. Although I'd like to think if they did find that Ohtani was guilty that they would have banned him, but again, we just don't know. Dominic L, now that Mizuhara pled guilty and Ohtani's been cleared, we can put all the conspiracy theories about him to rest and just enjoy watching him play baseball. I appreciate the sentiment, Dominic, but I think that's going to be easier said than done, at least for a while. And last but not least, Julia F. I don't believe for a second that Ohtani bet on baseball. There's no way he'd risk his career like that. I don't know, man. I sort of agree with both sides with all of these, and kind of on both sides of this thing.
Yeah, and I think too, going back to that last message, I think Julia makes a fantastic point. There, again, I can't say this like I'm super close with Shohei Ohtani, but based on everything that we know about him, there is no chance that he would risk his career by doing something like this and potentially risk, because I don't know how it would work as far as the contract and stuff goes, risking all of that kind of money to bet on a few games. I just don't see him having done that.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I bet nobody thought Pete Rose would do it either. And also, I keep coming back to these weren't a few small bets. This was $17 million. How in the world do you not, and Ohtani claimed, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't notice the money was missing. How do you not, I don't care how rich you are. How do you not notice $17 million just up and disappear from your bank account? I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're that rich, maybe you don't notice, but $17 million. Damn. Yes. So anyways, that's kind of where we're at with this thing. Carson, I would venture that no matter where people come down on this thing, this is not going away. Even though the MLB is even though the investigations have been closed, this is not going away.
Yeah.
And that really sucks because as a baseball fan, I don't want this to cast a cloud over Shohei Ohtani or baseball. But I'm sort of afraid that that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I really hope I'm wrong about that, but just seeing how, I don't know, seeing how other stories like this in sports have been handled and reacted to. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, that's kind of where we're at on that. All right, let's lighten things up a bit. Let's play some buy or sell. We'll just jump right into these. Carson, buy or sell that this season is World Series or bust for the Phillies.
The way that they've started out, I feel like I have to buy this. And I mean, they've come so close and then get beat every time. I feel like you have to, with the amount of talent you've assembled, I feel like this has to be the year because we say it all the time in sports, but it's very true. Teams are only going to get better, and especially this year, you have a Braves team that is not at 100%, nor are they even close. That, for my money, is your biggest competitor right now because the Dodgers are the Dodgers. We all know they'll probably choke in the postseason. So that they are your biggest competition right now, them and the Brewers, and you blow both of those teams out of the water. So this has to be a World Series year for the Phillies. I will buy this all day, every day, and twice on Sundays.
Yep. I've got to buy this soon. I'm glad you said that. I mean, they were in the NLCS last year. They lost to the Diamondbacks, obviously. They were in the World Series the year before. They lost to the Astros. The Phillies, if you're listening, this is your opportunity. The Braves are hobbled. They're hurt. They're no Ronald Acuna Jr. No, who's the pitcher that got hurt? It was Strider.
Spencer Strider.
Yeah. No Ronald and no Spencer Strider for the rest of the season. And I know the Braves are going to make moves and they're going to try to fill those gaps, but the fact of the matter is you're not going to replace Ronald Acuna Jr. You're not going to replace Spencer Strider, no matter who you bring in. This is your opportunity, Phillies. And especially, I mean, this would be Carson. I feel like this season would be World Series or bust for the Phillies, anyways. But especially because of what's happened the last couple of years, where they've almost gotten there, but not quite.
Yeah. I mean, again, like this feels like the year that you've got to take advantage of a lot of your competition being weaker than you.
Yeah. The National League isn't terribly deep. I mean, we obviously we just talked about the Braves, but I mean the Brewers are good, but they're not as good as the Phillies. The Dodgers are the Dodgers. And after that, the National League isn't terribly deep. So you've got to have to take advantage of it. All right. Buy or sell. Now it's Crockett, right? Is that how it's Garrett Crockett, not
I believe it's Crockett.
I keep wanting to say Crochet. Garrett, buy or sell, Garrett Crockett won't finish the season with the White Sox.
I have to buy this. I mean, I think if you're the White Sox, you got to sell any asset that you can. And I think, obviously, we've seen the rumors about Luis Robert, which, hey, paging Thad Levine, go get him, please. Thank you. We've seen the rumors about Luis Robert. I think Crockett would be the next to go, assuming that Robert is the first to go. I think that probably they could get something for Eric Fedde at the deadline, who has had a complete renaissance coming back over to the States after being, I believe he was in the KBO last season. So I know that there are rumors that the White Sox are saying, oh, we're not going to trade him, but come on, you're not doing anybody any good by holding on to him right now. Probably, I feel like this trade deadline is going to be a little bit more of a seller's market, so I'm going to buy this big time.
Yeah. This was tough because I feel like, kind of what we were talking about earlier about the White Sox, and, they're obviously already looking ahead to next year because this year is a wash. And they do have a lot of good prospects. Yeah, I guess I do have to buy this, but only if they can get they've got to make sure that they get the right package in exchange, for Crockett. I really hope they don't just trade Luis Robert and Crockett for a bag of peanuts. Hopefully they get. I mean, obviously, they're going to be looking for prospects in return for these guys. So, I mean, yeah, if they get the right deal, sure. I don't know that I'd be so quick to trade two of your best players, even though as bad as things are going. But I don't know. We'll see. So we were talking about international games earlier, how we want to see more international games. So Carson, buy or sell that MLB should play an all-star game outside the U.S. or Canada?
100% agree with this. I must be on the stock market. I'm buying everything. But yeah, I mean, you want to talk about a way to grow the game? Play an all-star game in like London. Like that would be super cool. And I mean, maybe more sports would take the initiative. And yes, I get that, but at this point, I feel like a lot of places have hosted the MLB All-Star Game, and God only knows that once Vegas gets a team, they're going to be right at the forefront because Vegas is Vegas, and they get to skip the line every time. But yeah, I think it'd be awesome to see. So 100%, yeah, I'd buy this all day, every day.
Nope, sell. Call me old. Call me stodgy, call me stick in the mud, whatever. I'm all for the international games, like the regular season games, and even the spring training games. And I love the World Baseball Classic. I think the World Baseball Classic is a great idea. It's an awesome event. I'm fully in support of the MLB players playing in the Olympics in 2028. If they can figure out how to work around the schedule. But the All-Star Game, no. The MLB All-Star Game is the best of the All-Star Games in pro sports. And it needs to stay in an MLB ballpark.
And that's fair. I do get that.
I don't know, something about, and for the record, I don't want to see, well, the NFL doesn't count because whatever the hell that Pro Bowl, whatever the hell that thing is, that doesn't count. For the record, I feel the same way about the other major sports. I don't want to see an NHL All-Star game in, Sweden. I don't want to see an NBA All-Star game in wherever. All-Star games, keep them here. Because as cool as it, and sure, you're right about growing the game, and as cool as the idea sounds of fans in another country getting to see the MLB All-Stars, compete, getting to see them play in person, that is cool. But if you want to do that, have these, like when we had the, when the Dodgers and Padres went over to Korea to start the season, and have an MLB team or have an MLB All-Star team during spring training, go play a series against, NPB All-Stars or KBO or like when the Dodgers and the Padres played against KBO teams. That kind of stuff, go for it. But as far as the actual All-Star game, yeah, keep it here. And actually, we're going to talk more about All-Star game here in a second. All right, next up, buy or sell. The Guardians are the team to beat in the American League.
Sell. It's the Yankees. Sorry. Yes, I know. I'm making you throw up in your mouth a lot today. I'm well aware of that. But
what is with the Yeah, we're having a Yankees love fest today, I guess.
AJ didn't sign up for this.
No.
But yeah, I think the Guardians have been fantastic. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I mean, right now, this Yankees team has just been dominating everyone. They've been mowing down all the competition within eyesight of the American League. I mean, my Twins have gone from winning the season series last year to once again having New York basically become a co-owner of the Minnesota Twins. And I mean, I picked 4 Yankees in my All-Star lineup. I've never picked that many All-Stars for one team, I don't think, in my life. So I've got to sell this. I think it's the Yankees right now.
2 words about the New York Yankees, the 2024 New York Yankees. President's Trophy. Go ahead, win all the games you want now. Because that doesn't mean squat when October rolls around. I mean, I don't know how many times, and I get it. When you're a fan of a team, when you're a fan of a team that's playing this well, when you're in, this year the Phillies fans, the Dodgers fans, when you're a fan of a team that's playing this well during the regular season, especially in baseball, considering how hard that is, to win, consistently in baseball. Because the season is 162 games. I get it. It's exciting. You get wrapped up in it. But, ladies and gentlemen, this doesn't mean the Yankees can win 120 games. And when the calendar flips to October and the playoffs start, that doesn't mean squat. And if you're not convinced, just look at the Atlanta Braves the last couple of years. Won 100-plus games and didn't even make the World Series. Lost in the first round both times. Look at the Dodgers last year. The Dodgers won all those games, lost to the Diamondbacks in the division series. That said, I cannot even as much as I loathe them, I can't deny that the great season the Yankees are having. They are having one heck of a season, but the team to beat in the American League, as in the team that's going to stand between all the other teams and winning the pennant, no. That being said, I also will sell this because I don't think it's the Guardians. For me, the team to beat in the American League, the team that all the other teams are going to have to get through to get where they want to go, the Baltimore Orioles.
I mean, they're good, but who's above them right now? And
okay.
Yes, but
2.5.
Hang on, because I hear what you're saying. I know win all the regular season games you want. The calendar flips over in October. Blah blah blah. I know
doesn't matter.
But what team is built for a World Series run? It ain't the Guardians. No. I dare say it ain't the Orioles.
Oh.
It's the New York
Yankees. Orioles. Come on, man. You don't think the Orioles are going to make some serious moves at the deadline? Look how good they are now. Think about they had another arm or two and probably a bat. Folks, Orioles fans, get ready because your team's as good as they are right now. They're going to be even better once the deadline passes. And okay, they're 2.5 games behind the Yankees. Meh. No, I agree with you about the Guardians. The Guardians are not built for a World Series win. The Guardians are really good. I think the Guardians are going to do some damage in the playoffs, but no, they're not built for a World Series run. I mean, I think another team to watch is the Royals. The Royals have been really good. But I just, as of right now, and I'm not saying the Orioles are necessarily going to win the American League. I'm not saying the Orioles are going to win the pennant or the World Series, but even though I did pick them to win the American League, yeah, I just if you're in an American League playoff team come this October and you want to get to the places you want to go, you're gonna have to go through the Orioles. Yeah, I know Yankees fans. I know, yeah, well, you're all, I'm making you all mad, but that's just where I'm at right now. Speaking of said Yankees, Carson, buy or sell that this most recent Yankees Dodgers series is a World Series preview. Oh, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and sell this. I probably would have bought it a few years ago, but the Dodgers have let me down at every turn. So, I got to sell this.
Yeah, I'm selling this all the way. Yeah. Well, I mean, we all know that the Dodgers are the Dodgers. We all know what they're going to do come October. They're going to fall apart and lose in the first round like they always do. And the Yankees, we were just talking about the Yankees. Carson, I'll go one step further. I will venture that neither the Yankees or the Dodgers make the World Series.
Ooh, that is that's quite the take.
I mean, I don't think the Dodgers should come as any surprise because we know they're going to choke because that's what they always do. I don't think the Yankees get the World Series either. If it goes, I mean, this is way far ahead projections. But if it winds up being the Yankees and the Orioles and the ALCS 7-game series, I'll take the Orioles all day, every day, and twice on Sundays. So, anyways, yeah, that's buy or sell, everybody. And I forgot to put the banner up. I'm sorry, I suck at that. But on to the mailbag. Slightly abbreviated version of the mailbag because we read a bunch of your guys' messages earlier about the whole Shohei Ohtani Marcano thing. But if you would like a chance to have us read your message on an upcoming episode, drop us a line at 8thinningpod.com/mailbag or at 8thinningstretch@gmail.com. And we begin this edition of the mailbag with a message from Justin T. Justin says, what city that hasn't hosted an all-star game in a while do you think should get it?
Baltimore.
Wow. Didn't even think about it.
No brainer. The way that this team has come back and the fans have come back. Camden Yards is a beautiful ballpark. It's just that instead of the actual bird, the Orioles have been playing like they are the mascot of bird poop. For the past, I don't know, 10, 15 years. So I think absolutely Baltimore deserves an all-star game because that park is beautiful and it is going to waste.
Let's see. When was the last time Baltimore had an all-star game? Holy crap.
I believe
1990, 1993.
Did my research right? It's 93.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Yeah, I mean, I it would be ludicrous to argue with Baltimore. Baltimore is a beautiful city. It's a beautiful ballpark. And yeah, especially with the Orioles sort of resurgence, I guess. Let's see, who else hasn't hosted it in a while. Let's see, your Twins hosted in 2014. Okay, that's You know what? I wasn't gonna go there because it's I feel like I've already made enough homer picks today. But Carson, my Red Sox haven't hosted the All-Star Game since 1999.
Yeah, I mean, Fenway should probably.
What is up with that? We didn't even get it in 2012 for the 100th anniversary of Fenway. Screw you, MLB. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Hello, Fenway Park. We haven't had an All-Star Game at Fenway since '99. Come on, like, yeah, folks. I am not exaggerating when I tell you that the 1999 All-Star Game at Fenway Park was the single. Well, yeah, you know what? That was the. That's the. I don't know if it's the best sporting event that I've ever been to because I've been to some pretty awesome sporting events. I just recently went to the Indy 500. I've been to the Olympics. But that was the best baseball experience I've ever had. I mean, the Home Run Derby, Ken Griffey Jr., Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Pedro Martinez, just, dominating just mowing down the National League batters. The pregame ceremony with all the MLB legends, Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, Ted Williams, who was still with us. Yeah, it was something else. So yeah, come on, MLB, get on that. Let's go. I was looking to see ballparks that have never hosted the All-Star Game.
As far as I know, it's only Tampa Bay who's never hosted it, which makes sense.
That's never gonna happen. Oh God, an All-Star Game at Tropicana Field? Yeah, no thanks. Citizens Bank Park in Philly, but they're hosting it in 2026. Because it's the 200th anniversary. 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer. The current Yankee Stadium that opened in 2009 has not hosted the All-Star Game. The Yankees last hosted in 2008 at the old Yankee Stadium. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we can just not ever have another All-Star Game at Yankee Stadium. Truist Park in Atlanta. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you could have had it. You could have had the 2021 All-Star Game. But it was moved to Denver because reasons. And Globe Life Field, where the Rangers play, they're gonna host it this year. So Tropicana Field never gonna happen. Citizens Bank Park happening next year in a couple of years. Yankee Stadium, that's maybe. Truist Park, probably not. So that's kind of interesting, Carson, that there's only a handful of ballparks that have never hosted the All-Star Game.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool. But anyways, yeah. Carson's vote is for wait, I forgot. I already forgot what you said. Baltimore. Yeah. Baltimore, and my vote's for Fenway. So a couple of AL East ballparks there. All right, on to the next. Aaron M. Who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of players you've seen play?
Oh, now when we say players we've seen play, are we talking like at a ballpark? Are we talking on TV? Like what do we want to
I would say either or. I would say we've actually seen them play in person or we've seen them play on TV. So only players that we've seen play. So, no Hank Aaron or Willie Mays or Ted Williams or, any of the old timers.
Okay, so this is my list of the greatest players that I've seen play.
Correct.
Okay, well, I mean, in that case, Derek Jeter's got to be on that list.
Yep.
Big Papi, I'll put on that list. Joe Mauer, I'll put on that as number 3. And again, this is in no particular order.
Right.
Who do I want as my 4th?
Too bad you never got to see Kirby Puckett play.
Yeah, no kidding. Screw it. I'll throw some pitcher love on there. Give me Johan Santana.
Nice. Let's see. So mine, see, this is what's fun about this, because mine is going to be pretty different from Carson's because of our, generation, age difference, whatever you want to call it. Ken Griffey Jr.
Ooh, okay.
Again, in no particular order. Ken Griffey Jr., Pedro Martinez. Geez, Mount Rushmores are tough. Only 4. If I were building a baseball Mount Rushmore, it would have to have like 8 faces on it. Yeah, Ken Griffey Jr., Pedro Martinez. Damn, this is hard. I'm trying to think back to our all 2000s, all decade team. Damn. Ken Griffey Jr., Pedro Martinez. All right, fine. Derek Jeter. Seriously, Jeter was the best shortstop that I've ever seen. And one of the best players. Griffey Jr., Pedro, Jeter, and who gets that last spot? Probably I just thought of it. Cal Ripken Jr. Yeah. Ken Griffey Jr., Pedro Martinez, Derek Jeter, and Cal Ripken Jr.
That's a solid Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, that's a heck of a wow. That's the beginnings of one heck of a baseball team. Yeah, I mean, Ken Griffey Jr., I think I've probably said it before, the sweetest, purest, best swing I've ever seen, and probably will ever see. So, Pedro, obviously, just absolute dominance on the mound. Jeter, for being Jeter, even though he tormented me and my Red Sox for all those years. And Cal Ripken Jr., Cal Ripken Jr., that doesn't need any explanation, I feel like. The least of which was breaking the all-time, consecutive games played record. So, all right, last but not least, Gabby W. Who's one player you want your favorite team to go after at the deadline? Now this is assuming that our favorite team or teams are going to be buyers at the deadline.
Correct. I think that's a safe assumption.
Yes. Even though they might not be.
Yeah. Oh, who would I want the Twins to go after? Oh, man. You know what? I know that kind of the stereotypical answer here would be Luis Robert, but I feel like we're going to have to give up an arm and a leg to go get him. So keeping it in division, though, I wouldn't mind seeing the Twins go after Mr. Garrett Crockett.
Ooh, I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah. Yeah,
We need some starting pitching help. So I
don't think you'd have to. I mean, you'd have to give up a lot, but not as much as you would for Luis Robert Jr. I don't think.
No.
Yeah. No. Anyone who tries to make a deal for Luis Robert Jr. is going to have to give up a king's ransom. Well, seeing as the Red Sox are in the current state they're in, I think I have to go with my Mariners in this case. Yeah, man, I really want Luis Robert Jr. on the Mariners, but do I want them to give up all those prospects? Not really. Disclaimer: I obviously I do not know whether this individual will be available at the trade deadline. I don't know if he's going to be available at the deadline because I don't know what's going on with his current team. But can we please get Bo Bichette on the Mariners, please?
Ooh.
Or Vlad Jr. I'm open. I'm flexible. Either or. Although Vladdy's not having a very Vladdy like season so far, but yeah, either or. I'm flexible, but I would love me some Bo Bichette on the Mariners. Yeah, Luis Robert Jr. is obviously, but yeah, that's a lot to give up. So, all right, that is it for the mailbag. Again, if you would like a chance to have us read your message on an upcoming episode, drop us a line at eighthinningpod.com/mailbag or at eighthinningstretch@gmail.com. Very quickly, very quickly. Just a couple of must-watch games on my radar this time out, Carson. This week we've got the Yankees visiting the Royals in a battle of American League front runners. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then we've got the Phillies heading to Baltimore to take on the Orioles in what could very well be a World Series preview.
Yeah, very, very well could be. That's gonna be an interesting series for sure. I mean, there are, your Red Sox take on the Philadelphia Phillies, which should be an interesting one as well.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some solid series this week. Astros and the Giants should be a fun one. Two teams that are kind of struggling a little bit out of the blocks, a little bit more than people thought they would. So they'll be probably looking for some revenge there. But AJ, we do indeed have a tankathon for this episode.
All right.
I've given a lot of love to the city of New York, and I think I'm about to take it all back here. Let's just say there's very much a reason why this series starts on Wednesday, and it is an MLB.TV free game of the day. There's very much a reason for it, as the New York Mets have host at Citi Field the Miami Marlins in a series that starts with the MLB.TV game of the day. Miami, I'm sorry. I do feel bad for picking on you guys a lot this year, but your team's been horrible. So if you want to watch some free baseball because you're like me and have blackout restrictions because TV companies are dumb, go ahead and pop on some MLB.TV and instantly regret your decision not even halfway through the first inning.
They have to put the game on free because there's no way anyone would ever pay to watch that.
It makes me think of that old Inside the NBA. Makes me think of that old Inside the NBA joke where it was like the Lakers and the Bucks when both of those teams were terrible, and it was like $6.99 to watch that game, and Charles Barkley nearly had a breakdown. That's what that game makes me think of.
Right. All right. One last thing. Yeah. What have you got for one last thing for us? Because I feel like it, depending on what you've got, I feel like we need to figure out the best way to end the show.
Well, I kind of told you about mine, but I kind of switched it up after
you did
doing
mention
some.
it. Yes.
I kind of switched it up though after doing some real time research. I found a certain article from Bob Nightingale that's got me a little bit riled up.
Okay. About the Martin Maldonado thing, or about something else?
Completely different.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Why don't you? I'll let you do the honors. Why don't you get us started?
So, yes, for my one last thing, initially it was going to be me ranting about the fact that there's a campaign out there to try and get Martin Maldonado into the All-Star game. How dumb that truly is, but that rant can be saved for another time because AJ, I saw an article from Bob Nightingale, and Bob Nightingale, not necessarily the best source in MLB, but this article was particularly well done. And I'm just gonna read you the title because I think the title gets. I think just by telling you the title of this article, you'll understand why this article got me so upset. And the title reads, "Getting Death Threats from Aggrieved Gamblers, MLB Players Starting to Fear for Their Safety." We've talked a lot about gambling on this show today. We've talked about the Ohtani thing. We've talked about our Marcano getting the lifetime ban, and that's a completely different issue.
Right.
The more I read this article, AJ, the more incensed I got. There were several different players quoted in this article basically saying, yeah, I've gotten death threats against me. People have threatened to come after my family because I cost them money when they're gambling. I'm going to read you too a part of this article that really got me upset because again, right there in the title it says that players are fearing for their safety, which is not something that they should ever have to do. But see, here is where the problem lies, is that it feels like there's no real consequences. And that's the part of the article I'm gonna read here. So if you all will indulge me for a small moment here. So Bob Nightingale writes in this article about a case of someone named Benjamin Tucker Patz, a 24-year-old sports gambler, pled guilty in 2021 for sending a string of social media messages to 4 players on the Tampa Bay Rays and 1 player on the White Sox after a 2019 game the Rays lost. Here's a sampling of the horrifying messages to one Rays player. "I will sever your neck open, you pathetic bleep. I will enter your home while you sleep and sever your neck open. I will kill your entire family. Everyone you love will soon cease. I will cut up your family, dismember them alive." Pats also sent threats to players on Atlanta, San Diego, Oakland, Cleveland, Baltimore, Kansas City, and Toronto. So what was Pats' punishment when he pled guilty? 3 years of probation and 6 months of home confinement. Not a single day of jail time. This is where my problem is that these people can go out and gamble money, and then all of a sudden you lose, so you take it out on the players, and you're sending death threats. One of the other things that Paul Sewald, who's one of the players quoted in this article, and one of the players who has received some of these types of death threats, had said, I think he put it pretty beautifully, don't bet money that you're not prepared to lose. Mm-hmm. It's really that simple when it comes to gambling. And I understand that there are people who are addicted to gambling, and I do get that. I am in no way trying to make light of that in this, because that is a true disease. But where the line stops for me, where I stop sympathizing with gambling addictions, is if you're sending death threats to players who you have never met in your life behind your keyboard, threatening people's lives, threatening people's families to the point where they're having to get personal protection because there are death threats that are literally being mailed to their house. That's where I draw the line. That is sick, inhumane, disgusting. These are fellow human beings. Just because they're sports players doesn't mean that they don't have lives of their own. Like, it used to be innocent heckling of, oh, you suck, you're a bum. Now it's gone to the point where if you're a player and you're losing somebody money, you might get a death threat over social media. That is absolutely ridiculous. And it frustrates me to no end that this is something that happens regularly to, I'm sure, not only MLB players, but I'm sure sports players all across the country, all across sports, because of the popularity of sports gambling. And it breaks my heart that players have to deal with this. And to anybody out there who may have, sent a derogatory message, sent death threats to a player, and FCC, Spotify, whoever, pardon my language here, but a big and wholehearted fuck you.
See what you did? You made Carson swear. No, seriously though, that is, we've been joking about, throwing up in our mouths, but boy, that makes me sick to my stomach. Yeah. Agreed about the gambling, and yes, gambling addiction is a real thing, but at the same time, gambling addiction and addiction is a real problem that, many people, a lot of people face. People battle addiction every day. However, addiction does not give you a free pass to be an asshole. It's not an excuse for treating your fellow human beings like this. Also, yeah, who said the part about don't bet money you're not willing to lose? Was that Nightingale that said that? Because I really like that.
That was a quote he got from Paul Sewald.
Oh yeah, good for you, Paul Sewald. Yeah, he's absolutely spot on. Yes, sports gambling can be fun. Yes, it can be exciting. I'm not averse myself to placing a wager occasionally, but don't. I mean, he's absolutely right. Don't place the bet unless, because spoiler alert, everybody, when you bet, you're going to lose. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. You're not going to win every time. So if you're not prepared to lose, then you're better off just not betting. And if you are, hang on one sec. And if you are somebody, if you or someone is struggling with gambling addiction, there is that national gambling helpline. It's 1-800-GAMBLER. Use it. Take advantage of that resource, whether it's you or somebody you know. All right. I don't necessarily know if my one last thing is lighter in. Well, yeah, I guess it is lighter in tone because we're not talking about any, not talking about people and struggling with addiction or anything. Yeah, Red Sox owner John Henry doesn't do interviews very often. In fact, before this most recent interview, he hadn't spoken about the Red Sox in a formal media setting since February of 2020. And spoiler alert, that's a good thing because every time John Henry opens his mouth about the Red Sox, he has this incredible, I'm pretty sure this is his superpower. Every time he opens his mouth about the Red Sox, He either insults the players, he insults the fans, he insults the city of Boston, or all of the above. He's really good at pissing people off, and this most recent interview might be the worst one yet. So this was an interview with the Financial Times. John Henry reiterated that he has no plans to sell the Red Sox, while shedding some light on why he runs the organization the way he does. Told the reporter via email that he feels fans' expectations to contend for the World Series championships on a yearly basis are unrealistic. Henry said, and I quote, "Because fans expect championships almost annually, they easily become frustrated and are not going to buy into what the odds actually are 1 in 20 or 1 in 30. No, John, we don't expect a World Series championship every year. What we do expect is a competitive team on the field. Because fans are we're spending our hard-earned money on tickets, on streaming packages, on cable packages, on satellite packages, on merchandise. Our hard-earned money is what's going into your pockets. In fact, since winning the World Series in 2018, the Red Sox have only made the playoffs once, which was in 2021, and have finished in last place in the American League East 3 of the last 4 seasons. Yeah. So, no. I mean, there may be fans out there who expect their team to win a championship every year, which is, yes, I agree, unrealistic. But the very least that these owners, including Henry, can do for us is spend money and put a competitive team on the field. Put a team on the field that it's at least going to be competitive, that's going to win some games, and at least has a shot at making the playoffs, because once you get into the playoffs, anything's possible. And instead, not only has John Henry and his fellow Red Sox owners not done that, they've sat around while other teams have, and that's even more frustrating. Especially, ladies and gentlemen, it is especially frustrating when the Red Sox and their greedy corpo asshole of an owner refuse to spend money to make the team. Oh, cool. You went and got Tyler, and this is no disrespect to these players. You went out and got Tyler O'Neill, hurt. Lucas Giolito, hurt. And Liam Hendricks, hurt. All out for the season. It's doubly frustrating when the Red Sox refuse to spend money, and us Red Sox fans have to sit here and watch the Yankees go out and get freaking Juan Soto. Are you kidding me? I can't even. And then, as if that wasn't bad enough, he doubles down, and Henry doubles down and says, basically, we're not selling the team because we generally don't sell assets. Well, John, you know something? It's good to have confirmation that you, despite all your talk about going full throttle, despite all the talk about, being committed to putting a winning product on the field, at the end of the day, all the Red Sox are to you, and by extension, all us Red Sox fans are to you, are an asset. It's good to have confirmation that you don't give a damn about the team, you don't give a damn about the fans, and you don't give a damn about the city of Boston. All you care about is lining your pockets, which, oh, by the way, you have other assets to do that. You own Liverpool FC. You own the Pittsburgh Penguins. You own Nesson. You own the Boston Globe. That's not enough for you? You have to wring every last freaking dollar out of Red Sox and Red Sox fans? It's good to have confirmation that the owner of my favorite baseball team in the universe has become, or maybe is now just showing us his true colors, that he's just a greedy corpo asshole like most of the other owners in pro sports. Yeah. So John Henry, thank you for 2004 and 2007 and 2013 and 2018. Thanks for the World Series championships. But you can now kindly, now that you have insulted Red Sox fans and the city of Boston, and now that you have confirmed that you don't give a damn about any of us, now you can kindly go fuck right off.
Yeah, well said, and I feel like that was a was that a little bit of Red Sox therapy for you?
It was a bit cathartic. Yes, it was.
Well, I'm glad it was a bit therapeutic, and I'm sure you're speaking for a lot of Red Sox fans out there.
I don't want to presume, but I feel like I'm speaking for the majority of Red Sox fans. Because I know I've seen and heard quote unquote Red Sox fans who, think every year should be World Series or bust, which is utterly ridiculous and unreal. That I agree with Henry on. That is unrealistic. And the so-called Boston sports media, who seemingly write off the Red Sox every year, if they don't win their first 30 games. All of them, you know what? All of you that I'm talking about now, you can all go join John Henry and fucking the hell off. Fucking all the way off. Go be Yankees fans. We don't want you. Ridiculous. Yeah. So, anyways. That's my rant about John Henry. Carson, I'm not even kidding. I was reading this article and I'm pretty sure my blood pressure was, rising as I was reading this article. Yeah. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on, John Henry. Unbelievable. All right, everybody. On that note, it is time to end the episode. We've come to the end of another episode here in the 8th inning stretch. Thank you all so much for tuning in. You guys are the best. We couldn't do this without you. We couldn't do this without your support. And don't forget, you can catch us live essentially every Sunday, just about every Sunday, on YouTube, on Twitter, at 8thinningpod.com/livestream. Oh, excuse me. And on demand anytime at linktree/8thinningstretch. Don't forget to follow us at 8thinningpod on Twitter. And for more, including our newsletter/blog, 2 Strike Count, and our original documentary series, The Book of Baseball, head to 8thinningpod.com. Don't forget to subscribe for free and get 2 Strike Count delivered to your inbox every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And please help us continue making the best indie baseball content this side of home plate by supporting the show using the QR code on your screen or 8thinningpod.com/donate. And if you are watching/listening to this on YouTube, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. That's it, my friend. We, believe it or not, we're at the end of another episode.
Time flies when you're having fun, that's for sure.
It does. These episodes go by entirely too fast. That's all we got for you guys. Again, thank you all so much for all your continued support and all your participation. Don't forget to write into our mailbag at 8thinningpod.com/mailbag or 8thinningstretch@gmail.com. Keep an eye out for a new poll question on the website tomorrow, as well as a brand spanking new edition of 2 Strike Count. And on that note, we bid you all farewell. And in the meantime, please remember to take care of yourselves, your physical health, your mental health. They're equally important, and to take care of each other.